Kimosabe is Dope Lemon's fourth record. It's the follow-up to Rose Pink Cadillac. We're going to take a look at that today, as well as ask the question of whether this particular project from Angus Stone is going to be ultimately better than the one that he did with his sister. Hello to you, Al. Hope everything's well. Take us through this, mate.
Good morning, mate. First of all, congratulations to the Collingwood Football Club for winning. Not too sure who Mr. Lemon goes for, but it's been a huge weekend, mate, and topped off by this new release by Dope Lemon, which for me is a 4-star album straight away, mate. I followed Mr. Lemon for quite a while now, and I'm definitely on his side of the camp in terms of his previous work with his sister, but this album really has some fantastic tracks as highlights for me. Of course, he's already released the title track Kimosabi and Miami Baby, but my personal favourites off my first few listens of this is Broke Down Casino. I think that's got a real kind of Strokes kind of vibe to it. I don't know what your thoughts are there, mate, but for me that was a real highlight, as well as a slower track, Blue Moon Fox, and the second track off the album, Derby Raceway. As I said, it's 4 stars for me, mate. You can't really fault him. Like, he constantly comes up on my Spotify playlists, my daily mixes, and I never skip it, mate. It's just fantastic. It's easy listening. The picture says 1,000 words. The front cover is just a picture of him with a nice big cigar. And I'll tell you what, mate, you kind of get yourself a little whiskey, put it on in the background. It's pretty easy listening, mate. What are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, well said. Look, I think Kimosabe and Miami Baby are probably my favourite tracks from this one. But look, we've been complaining over the last few weeks around wokeness and Americana. You're getting the opposite of this in this particular album. There's a little bit of the naughtiness that goes on with rock and roll. He does it in spades, which is, it's refreshing to hear every now and then. I guess in terms of my favourite ones, Kimosabe, as I said, are probably my favourite Miami Baby. So the singles are probably my favourite with regards to this one. But in relation to other tracks, yes, you do hear hints of the Strokes. I've heard hints of The Cure as well. So he does sort of have I'd say in some ways there's an 80s vibe to it without sounding 80s. I sort of feel that there's some of the bass guitar that's coming through. It almost sounds Paul McCartney-esque as well. So that was an interesting observation with regards to what I was able to listen to. But I managed to check out the back catalogue there, Al, also, and he really is bringing it to the table, and just sort of, it's feeling fresh and it's feeling new. I'm giving it 4 stars as well. I think it really is going to be an album that I think people need to check out and just get out of this sort of, I don't know, this staleness, I think, at the moment with regards to albums, where I'm just sort of feeling like everyone's a little bit more down the dumps. I think this one just sort of brings things up a little bit of a notch. I'm not sure if you've got any other thoughts, mate.
Yeah, no, interesting, mate. I'd be interested to have a conversation around you in terms of the singles and this general album feel, where it kind of sits with his previous body of work, his other 3 albums. For me, Uptown Folks has been on a regular playlist for me for a while. Do you think these songs off this album will be in your regular kind of listening parties, mate?
Probably Kimosabe and Miami Baby. I don't think the other ones quite do it. I think that Uptown Folks is probably my favourite song still. That one, it had something really different about that. But that's not a bad thing. I think that he does, he's coming to the table with things that are fresh and relevant there. So I think that's the main thing. That's what you want to hear out of some of these bands, and definitely check him out actually on the YouTubes. Seeing him live, there's some really good stuff out there. I think there was one that I saw where he was performing in France. Definitely check that out. It's really cool. It's really cool. So probably just getting on to the next topic, the Dope Lemons are being about now for a little while now. Obviously, the previous vehicle was Angus and Julia Stone, the siblings, as a duo. I think that it's interesting now to reflect on whether there is going to be as big a legacy with those 2 acts. Which one will ultimately be seen to be the one? I mean, you don't often get that opportunity to have 2 vehicles where you're sort of seeing him in a similar light. What's your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, look, I think the longevity will be that fans will remember Angus and Julia Stone more, but in terms of Angus Stone's skill and prowess as a solo artist, I personally think he is far better as Dope Lemon than one half of Angus and Julia Stone. I mean, they are completely different sounds, but I mean, when they first released Big Airplane or whatever that was, and it was number one and it got the Triple J Hottest 100, I was pretty much like, oh Jesus, is every album he's going to release going to be like this? But it wasn't to be. He kind of came out and did his own thing, a complete different sound, and that's kind of the sound that I've kind of followed for the last 5 or so years. I don't know if you've got anything different to say on that, mate. But,
I don't know. I think maybe Dope Lemon may be the one that maybe overtakes that vehicle, but it's really sort of hard to say. You can certainly see that it's a different beast, which is good. I don't know. I think the jury's out. I think it will probably another couple of albums with Dope Lemon. You probably suspect that maybe people might remember that a little bit more, maybe even internationally. So, very interesting discussion. So that is our review of Dope Lemon's Kimosabi. That wraps up another episode of Indie Miners. Please look to subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, and let us know if there's an album you would like us to look at. So until next time, bye for now, and thank you for watching.